Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to transport you into the world of art and obsession and choices that make you think about everything we value.
Choices that are going to make you wonder, are we doing the right thing? Are we following the right path?
Exactly. And to help us on this journey today, we're going to explore a really fascinating novel by Somerset Maugham, The Moon and Sixpence.
Oh, The Moon and Sixpence is a great choice.
Yeah, and this book, it's inspired by the life of the post-impressionist painter Paul Gauguin, and it really delves into this idea of what if you just walked away from a completely comfortable life?
Everything that society tells you is important, yeah.
Exactly, and said, I'm going to pursue art. And, that's exactly what happens with our main character, Charles Strickland. He's a stockbroker living a pretty normal middle-class life.
Very conventional, very typical.
Yeah, and then boom, he decides to leave his family and everything behind to become a painter.
He doesn't even give them an explanation. He's just gone.
And that's what's so fascinating about this book. It's not just about art. It's about obsession and the price of passion and how that affects everyone around you.
Right, the ripples that just go out. And, Mom is so smart, he uses an unnamed narrator.
Yeah, the narrator's a writer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a writer, and he gets pulled into Strickland's orbit, so he's kind of our window into this crazy world.
And the story really kicks off when Strickland just disappears to Paris.
Without a trace, no explanation, just poof, he's gone.
And his poor wife, she's desperate. She doesn't know what to do. She begs the narrator to find her husband and bring him back.
She thinks maybe Strickland is having some kind of breakdown or he's ill. She can't comprehend why he would leave.
And that's when the narrator tracks Strickland down to this really seedy hotel in Paris.
It's like the opposite of everything Strickland used to represent.
Right. It's a total 180 from his London life.
Yeah.
And this meeting between the narrator and Strickland.
Mm-hmm.
It's a turning point in the story.
It really is, because Strickland, he doesn't care about his family's pain at all.
And he's completely obsessed with painting. He even says, I tell you, I've got to paint. I can't help myself.
It's like this primal urge has taken over, like something he can't control.
And it's here that we see how much Strickland has changed. He's not running away from something. He's running towards something.
He's shed his old life like a snake shedding its skin.
Yeah, and underneath is this raw, almost scary determination.
He's willing to sacrifice everything for his art, his comfort, his relationships, even his dignity.
And his life in Paris, it's tough. It's full of poverty and hardship, but he refuses any help.
He'd rather starve, he says, than compromise his art.
It's almost like he thinks suffering fuels his creativity.
Right, like it's a necessary part of the process.
And then we meet Dirk Stroeve, this really kind Dutch painter who sees Strickland's talent and tries to help him.
Stroove's got such a good heart. He offers Strickland friendship and support, a place to stay.
But Strickland, he pushes him away. He's incredibly rude to Stroeve.
He doesn't just reject the help, he rejects Stroeve as a person.
And this isn't just about Strickland being a difficult artist. This shows how fiercely independent he is.
He's determined to do things his way, even if it hurts him and hurts everyone around him.
And it does hurt people around him, because then Struve's wife, Blanche, gets involved, and things get really complicated.
Oh, Blanche, she's such a tragic character.
She nurses Strickland back to health when he gets really sick, and she falls deeply in love with him.
Well, how could she not fall for him? He's this brooding, tortured artist.
Yeah, and he's so different from her husband, who's kind and stable, but also kind of boring.
Yeah, Strickland represents everything Blanche feels is missing in her life.
But of course, Strickland, he doesn't feel the same way about her at all, and he ends up leaving her.
And she's absolutely devastated. She can't handle the rejection, and she ends up taking her own life.
It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And Strickland's reaction to her death is just chilling.
It's one of the most memorable lines in the book.
He says she was tiresome. I'm glad she's dead.
It shows how little he cares about other people's feelings, how completely detached he is.
Art is all that matters to him. And then he disappears again.
Vanishes into thin air, and nobody knows where he's gone for years.
And those who knew him are left to deal with the aftermath of his actions and try to understand why he did what he did.
It's like he's a force of nature. He leaves destruction in his wake.
And the mystery just deepens. We're left wondering where he went and what will become of him.
Years pass, and then a whisper, a rumor Strickland's been spotted, way out in Tahiti.
Oh, wow. So he's gone as far away as he could possibly go.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to escape civilization altogether. And we find out about his life on the island through this sea captain, Captain Nichols.
So he's kind of our new window into Strickland's world.
Exactly. And Tahiti, it becomes more than just a setting. It becomes a reflection of Strickland's internal world.
I can see that the lush landscapes, the vibrant colors, it all mirrors the kind of untamed energy that Strickland embodies.
And it's like he's finally found a place where he can truly be himself.
Yeah, where he doesn't have to conform to society's expectations.
He even marries a Tahitian woman named Ada and their relationship. It's really fascinating.
In what way?
Well, Ada, she embodies this simplicity and acceptance that Strickland never found in his old life.
She doesn't judge his art or his weird behavior.
Exactly. She accepts him completely, flaws and all.
It's like she provides a kind of balance to his chaotic nature.
Right, like a calm in the storm.
But even in this paradise, Strickland is still a difficult guy.
Oh, yeah. He's still prone to anger and isolation. He can be really cruel.
So some things never change.
And it's interesting. Mom never actually describes Strickland's paintings.
Really? So we never know what they actually look like.
We only get glimpses of them through the reactions of other characters.
That's a really clever way to make the art even more mysterious.
It lets the reader imagine what the paintings must be like.
And we hear about how Strickland's art affects people.
Mm?
How it provokes them and challenges their ideas about beauty.
It's like his art is a mirror reflecting his own tortured soul.
And it's not meant to be pretty or easy to understand.
It's raw and powerful, and it forces you to confront uncomfortable truths.
So it's more about the emotional impact than the visual aspect.
Exactly. And this ambiguity about his work, it raises a really interesting question.
What is the true nature of art? Is it about technical skill or pleasing aesthetics, or is it something deeper, something that touches your soul?
It's a question that's still relevant today. What makes art truly great?
And toward the end of his life, Strickland, he starts working on his most ambitious project yet.
This massive mural that covers the walls of his hut.
It's like he's pouring every ounce of his being into this final work of art.
It's the culmination of his life's work, his magnum opus.
But then fate throws him a curveball.
He contracts leprosy, a terrible disease that slowly makes him go blind.
Oh, wow, that's so tragic to lose his vision just when he's creating his greatest masterpiece.
It's like the ultimate irony, but even though his body is failing, his artistic vision remains strong.
It shows how dedicated he was to his art, even in the face of suffering.
But here's the question. What happens to this incredible mural?
Does it become his legacy? Something that people will admire for generations to come?
Well, no. In a shocking twist, Strickland orders Ada to burn the hut with the mural inside.
What? He destroys his own masterpiece. Why would he do that?
It's an ending that has baffled readers for decades, and it leads to all sorts of interpretations. It's like a punch to the gut. You spend the whole book engrossed in this guy's artistic journey, and then poof, it's all gone.
It's almost like Maugham's playing a trick on the reader.
Yeah, and it makes you question everything. What was the point of it all? Strickland just destroys his own work.
So how do we make sense of this ending?
Well, there are a lot of different interpretations. Some people think it was an act of self-sabotage, like Strickland couldn't handle the idea of success.
Or maybe he was afraid his art would be misunderstood or exploited.
Right, like he wanted to keep his vision pure, untainted by the commercial art world.
Others see it as a way for Strickland to maintain control even in death,
Yeah, he's saying, I won't let anyone else define my legacy. My art is mine, and mine alone.
It's a pretty radical statement, isn't it?
It is. It goes against everything we think we know about art and the desire for recognition.
But it also reinforces Strickland's status as an outsider, as someone who refused to play by the rules.
He was a true rebel, both in his life and in his art.
And I think that's what makes The Moon and Sixpence such a powerful and enduring book.
It challenges us to think about the nature of art and the role of the artist in society.
It also raises questions about the price of passion and the sacrifices we're willing to make for our dreams.
And it reminds us that life is full of contradictions, good and bad, beauty and ugliness.
Strickland was a deeply flawed character, but there's something about his relentless pursuit of his vision that's both inspiring and terrifying.
Exactly. He shows us that true genius often comes at a cost.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Moon and Sixpence, I think we're left with more questions than answers.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of great literature. It stays with you long after you finish reading it.
It makes you think.
Oh.
It makes you feel, and it challenges you to examine your own values.
And I think that's a pretty good legacy for any book to have.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of The Moon and Sixpence.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter.